Love Radio 5D Radio Flicks. This is a sound check. Clean, crisp, crystal clear. Love Radio 5D Radio Flicks. 25 epic international radio stations broadcasting from New York City to every nation on earth.
Love Radio.
Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler, a masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity. A University of the West Indies thesis, 21st March 1985 by Sukram Ali. Presented 40 years later, June 19th, 2025, by the ultimate selector with the kind compliments of the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love, on Love Radio Pure Passion. 40 years ago, I presented a thesis for the module Caribbean History and Contemporary Social Problems at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus. This presentation is adapted from the original script, Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler. This program is dedicated to my classmates, the class of 1984 to 1987, Communication Arts, UWI, St. Augustine, Trinidad and Tobago. Love Radio 5D Radio Flicks, 25 epic international radio stations broadcasting from Midtown Manhattan, New York City to every nation on the planet, powered by music from the Ultimate Collection and the power of love with Radio Flicks and AI technologies. Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio Pure Passion, courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness. Strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans. Golden brown Nescafe, coffee ganus. The smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class, Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, one of 4 giants among men, fearless heroes and champions of the working class. Mahatma Gandhi, Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela. The hero and spokesman of the working class, the champion of the poor and downtrodden, the supreme chief servant, a true father of the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler. Butler was uncompromisingly, absolutely, and completely opposed to British colonial rule.
It's a sad thing to remember, and it's sadder still for me to relate today when things seem to have changed quite a lot. But as I remember, the conditions of the poor Indians and Negroes in sugar and oil respectively was nothing short of subhuman. It was clearly a case for early rectification. But how to do it? Letter after letter was dispatched to the powers that be in the oil and sugar industry. No replies. We turned our attention to the government of the day. Every letter was attended to, acknowledged. But what about the alleviation of the condition of these poor workers? Well, nothing was attempted, nothing done. And so I thought that the time had come when we had to take positive action to achieve positive results insofar as betterment of the condition under which these people were forced to live and die and work are concerned. Today, as we celebrate what I am always pleased to refer to as the Butlerites' Thanksgiving Day, I call upon one and all of my warriors to lift their hearts to Almighty God in joyful praise and thanksgiving for the victories, the working class victories, the immortal victories, the epic victories of labor under Gordon Uriah Butler in the history-making days of June 1937. Glory to God in the highest. Long live labor. Long live the servants of labor in Trinidad and Tobago.
Powerful words from a fearless conqueror, a passionate man of determination, courage, intelligence, and wisdom. A man who went to jail for championing the plight of the working class. Buzz devoted his life unselfishly and wholeheartedly to the struggle for improvements in the working and living conditions of the poor African and Indian laborers in the sugar and oil industries, struggling with all his might by any means necessary against the colonial government of the British West Indies. Buzz was committed to truth, justice, and fair play. Never before in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, anyone so bravely and boldly spoke out with fiery words and fearless actions, regardless of the consequences.
As chairman of this meeting, mine is a very great privilege and duty to welcome you here this evening, and in welcoming you to this meeting started for Worcester Square, I want to make an appeal to you for help and cooperation. And it is my humble view as chairman of the meeting that if I should get good behavior, it will be one reason why I shall have to thank you at the end of the meeting for help and cooperation. If you help us and cooperate with us by listening to us peacefully and even by giving us every now and again what we call a hand, then at the end of this meeting, your servant will be a very grateful and happy man indeed. I am not going to thank you in anticipation of a good listening or a good hearing. I am not going to thank you in anticipation of good behavior, because this is the fruit of the goodness is in the good. So once again, I thank you for your presence here this evening, and I welcome you most happily to a meeting that I am sanguine will bring a measure of hope to the people who have given up all hope of the New Jerusalem finding lasting in our country.
Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler was born at Blue Grove Cottage, St. George's, Grenada on Sunday, 21st January 1897. He died on Carnival Sunday, 20th February 1977. A national hero of Trinidad and Tobago. Uriah Butler's father worked as a blacksmith at the Grenada Sugar Factory until he was retrenched and opened his own blacksmith shop. He was also the sexton at the St. George's Anglican Chapel. This allowed Buzz free tuition at the prestigious St. George's Anglican School, where he excelled at academics, football, and marbles. When Buzz left school at age 13, his options were limited. His father could not afford to pay for higher education. Buzz grew up in town, had no traditional knowledge of agricultural work, and the jobs available to a young black man were menial, routine, unchallenging, and degrading. Uriah dabbled at various trades: blacksmith, joinery. He felt uncomfortable, restless, unchallenged, and decided to seek his fortunes elsewhere. Philip Garcia, Lord Executor, captured the plight of the young men of the British West Indian colonies in his 1937 calypso, I Don't Know How the Young Men Living.
I don't know how the young men living, they never have a shilling. I don't know how the young men living, they never have a shilling. Oh, Tommy, open the door, give me a bottle and let me go. Tommy, open the door, give me a bottle and let me go. In the day he walked out, only coming with his sweet mouth, calling for his minnow, fowl, pong, plantain and callaloo. Oh, Tommy, open the door, give me a bottle and let me go. Tommy, open the door, give me a bottle and let me go. In the night he come and peep, only longing for a place to sleep, as to cast his weary head, as a lumber led on the cozy bed. Ah, Tommy, open the door, give me my bottle and let me go. Tommy, open the door, give me my bottle and let me go. That villain next day, half crazy and total bay. His watch he come goodness knows, and half of his feet exposed. Tommy, open the door, give me my bundle and let me go. Tommy, open the door, give me my bundle and let me go. Who can measure up the human mind when it is uncultured and unrefined? An imposed society not to be mentioned in history. Tommy, open the door, give me the bundle and let me go. Tommy, open the door, give me the bundle and let me go.
Through calypsos our stories are told, with rhythm and rhyme, to rock your world and touch your soul. Philip Garcia, the Lord Executor, from 1937, I Don't Know How the Young Men Living. The first calypso record was released in 1912, recorded in New York City, Mango Fair by Lovey's String Band. First vocal calypso record recorded in New York City was released in 1914. Julian White Rose, Iron Duke in the Land.
Iron Duke in the land, Bob again. Iron Duke in the land, Bob again. Bring a locomotive just because it's a half of the nation. Bring a locomotive just because it's a half of the nation. That's what it is. It was a modern manifestation of the elder civilization, then the carnival celebration of the social organization. We call it a minds and attention of all the population. As to visit the social, they call them West White Road and Sandoval. And you get the land back again. And you get the land back again. Bring it up a morning just because it's a half of the nation. Bring it up a morning just because it's a half of the nation.
The advent of World War I in 1914 presented an opportunity for Uriah. Although 17, he presented himself as 20 years old to the authorities and was accepted as a volunteer in the first contingent of the British West Indian Regiment. Buzz was stationed in Egypt and Palestine for 4 years. Benito Mussolini, a socialist journalist, helped push Italy into World War I. He served as a soldier on the Western Front until 1917, and in 1919 he founded the fascist movement and seized power in October 1922. Leading Italy, Mussolini allied with German dictator Adolf Hitler in World War II. Here's Raphael de Leon, the Roaring Lion, from 1936. Advantage Mussolini.
Mussolini, your two brass face and gold, I mean to claim our land that's filled with gold. Mussolini, your two brass face and gold, I mean to claim our land that's filled with gold. Since our forefathers' land you're really brave, we're going to fight until we get you in the grave. For advantage was never done, Mussolini, you know you're wrong. Advantage was never done, Mussolini, you know you're wrong. Mussolini, what you think at all? You want to make our king a bocador, but you wouldn't live long enough to see the Italian flag upon our country. For we would march forward at the bugle call, fight to the end until the last man falls. Advantage was never done, Mussolini, you know you're wrong. The advantage was never done. Mussolini, you know you're wrong. Mussolini, that isn't bravery to have acted so advantageously. The way you started, I'm sure it made you shame. So if you win, you cannot say you make your name. And more than that, Selassie is a diplomat. So if you win this war, be sure I leave my hat. Advantage was never done. Mussolini, you know you're wrong. The advantage was never done. Mussolini, you know you're wrong. The Abyssinian heroes all declare, Mussolini, you better be aware. Over Selassie, you thought you would prevail. You went to meet a fish, but bounced up a whale. And war would never cease until we see him dead. For we need to tear brass out of his head. Advantage was never done. Mussolini, you know you're wrong. The advantage was never done. Mussolini, you know you're wrong.
𝐋𝐤 Raphael de Leon, the Roaring Lion, from 1936. Advantage, Mussolini. Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness. Strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans. Golden brown Nescafe, coffee ganus. The smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class, Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. After World War I, Uriah returned to Grenada in 1918 and immediately launched 2 organizations, the Grenada Union of Returned Soldiers, who sought pension, educational benefits, and employment for those who fought so gallantly during World War I, and the Grenada Representative Government Movement, which took the radical position that the rule of the plantocracy class must be replaced by the rule of the people's representatives, elected on the basis of universal adult franchise, 1 man or woman, 1 vote. This is a tribute to one of the 4 20th century titans, mighty warriors, fearless trailblazers, champions of the working class, Mahatma Gandhi, Uriah Butler, Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela. This one is from my hero, Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Here is Neville McCannell, the Growling Tiger, from 1937, Workers' Appeal.
Anywhere you go, you must meet people sad. They search for employment, none can be had. Anywhere you go, you're bound to meet people sad. They search for employment, none can be had. They start to drop down dead in the street with nothing to eat and nowhere to sleep. All kind of employers I appeal now. Could you give us work to do? are not asking for equality to rank with the rich in society, to visit their homes in their motor cars, or go to their clubs and smoke their cigars. We are asking for a living wage to help us now and provide for old age. Kind-hearted employers, I appeal now, could you give us work to do? Many of these folks ain't having to meal. They were too decent, too beg, too honest to steal. They were looking for work mostly everywhere, but found signs that mark no hands wanted there. The government should work the wastelands and hills, build houses, factories and mills, reduce taxation, and then we would be really emancipated from slavery. The legislators only quarrel and fret about unemployment, but haven't relieved us yet. There is no vision that we can see to take us up from tribulation and misery. We can't fight physically cause we wouldn't prevail on account of ammunition, cruel laws and jail. But every man was born to be free from this oppression and tyrannic slavery.
Neville McConnell, the Growling Tiger, from 1937. Workers' Appeal. Two noteworthy events of 1903. 1. Coca-Cola stopped using raw coca leaves in its formula, but continued using from then to now a coca leaf extract they claim to be cocaine-free. The second event was the 1903 water riots in Trinidad and Tobago, where the Red House was destroyed by fire. In 1904, businessman John Phillips established Whitco in Port of Spain. Brunswick Square was renamed Woodford Square in 1917 in honor of Sir Ralph Woodford. Also, the Trinidad Guardian newspaper began publication and circulation on September 2nd, 1917. The 1919 water riots in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago were less about water and more about labor-related issues.
So don't forget, but there's not going to be satisfied until every oil field belongs to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But a very strange thing is going to happen. They're going to see where butlers don't dance or a breaker at the 8th commandment. Thou shalt not. But like what to pay them in good Trinidad and Tobago dollars. And those dollars, but let them start, if you put the butler in a party in power tomorrow, but let them start, so the doctor would have done for the last thing is gone. But butler know where he can put his hands tomorrow. And you, I sure it knows what everybody did, that you repeat, butler can put his hands tomorrow on billions of dollars, more than enough to buy out all the adventurers who stole our lands away, all the adventurers in oil, asphalt, sugar, etc. So he can pay $1 billion for them. Ill-gotten gain, but like what the billion too, for peace sake. But don't forget, that the time I take it away from them, all those billions will belong to all those billions that are now floating out of our country will remain inside of Trinidad and Tobago, to be used by the government for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Just talk about education, when you wouldn't have to buy books, and you're not going to have the government tell you there are only 5 school places, or there are only 5,000 school places, or there are only 500,000 school places, when we must have school places for 1 billion people in Trinidad and Tobago. But there's not a half local and a whole island. So we are not here to cry over 50 billion that is funded in all sorts of selfing and self-aggrandizing that even more important, I want to let you just keep it now. You don't know why? Because what just saying heart is life in England, that's life in England, is supposed to bring anything back. What 𝐋𝐔𝐕 what's not that in England? That no cross down in the tenders, all of St. Trinidad and Tobago, he's back at the back of the behind. So you know that, eh? But that's none of that, because I'm going to give up on one. And the whole world knows that what that can be studied, but that 10 years in England, then it's not fair money and doing nothing. But it is the people so much so. What there remains in England, so that our Majesty's government in the United Kingdom will know that there is a little back figure which is thrown in the palm of his hand and the death that stands there at the spectrum and you didn't know that, eh? Well, may God just talk about his son. Because what's that wisdom in England, boys? But I have all these secrets of the throne now. That's why I have to tell us tomorrow they have no damn court, or that no damn policeman can arrest me. Because they have to do that in the name of this. In the name of this. And if they have no damn queen, where the hell your authority comes from? Anyhow, you better laugh tonight. You're going to get a little more later on. Except if they arrest your backside. I think that that's a gun. For one hand. So don't be afraid to arrest you. You will have to meet Uriah. And all I have to tell them is their damn court are not properly. Of course, you're not going to
After World War I, by late 1919, there were many labor disturbances, including dock workers striking over low wages and bad management. These disturbances led to calls for vigilante groups and armed patrols. Unlike the 1903 water riots, the 1919 events were distinct and focused on labor grievances. Money was on the mind of the masses. Here is Neville Mocano, the growling tiger, with Money is King.
If a man has money today, people do not care if he has cocoa beer. If a man has money today, people do not care if he has cocoa beer. He can commit murder and get off free and live in the governor's company. But if you are poor, people will tell you sure and a dog is better than you. If you have money to buy in a store, the boss will shake your hands at the door. Call 10 clerks to take down everything with kick-lot, herring and diamond ring. He may send them to your house on a motorbike. You can pay the bills whenever you like. Not a soul will ask you a thing. They know very well that money is king. A man with a collar and tie and waistcoat, ask the Chinese man to trust him, Accra and float. Me not trust him, ball out the Chinese man and you better move him from a frying pan. You college man, me not know ABC. You want a macraggy and penny. You want start to jump in the man's belly and he cried out, a dog is better than me. A dog can walk about and take a bone, all heads, tail, bread, fish, tail and bone. If it's a good breed and not too wild, some people will take it and mine as a child. But when a hungry man goes out to beg, they will set a bulldog behind his leg. For the policeman may chalk him down too. You see where a dog is better than you. If you have money and things going nice, any woman would call you honey. And spite if you can't give her a dress, one new pair of shoes, she'll say she have no uses for you. When you try to caress her, she will tell you stop. I can't carry love in the Chinese shop. I'm sure most of you will agree that it's true. If you have money, dog is better than you.
𝐂𝐤 Neville Mercano, the growling tiger. Money is king. In 1865, Walter Darwin founded the Paria Oil Company to drill for oil, and the first successful oil well was drilled in Arapero in 1866. Plip Deco was established at Point Lisa Scuba in 1900. Point-a-Pier oil production officially began in 1921 with Trinidad Liso Limited's cat cracker unit. By 1930, crude oil production had steadily increased to 10 million barrels a year. While sugar remained a major export, cocoa became the leading crop by 1900. But cocoa production declined from the 1920s to the 1940s. In the first half of the 20th century, the political system in Trinidad and Tobago changed slightly from full Crown Colony government rule to limited representative Crown Colony government. The outrage, anger, and discontent over poor working and living conditions by the working class were buried deep in the colonial roots. The suffering from the landing of Columbus through slavery and indentureship, and for decades after. Rufus Calendar, the Lord Caresser, captured that sentiment in his calypso, Exploiting.
Buy me a Zeppelin, do darling, buy me a Zeppelin, you could believe, or a steamboat, and then I must be an exploiter like Columbus. So baby, buy me a Zeppelin, do darling, buy me a Zeppelin, you could believe, or a steamboat, and then I must be an exploiter like Columbus. I want to go roaming around the world, touching all seas from North to South Pole, to Greenland, Finland, Iceland and all, then to the Niagara waterfall. So darling, buy me a Zeppelin, do darling, buy me a Zeppelin, you could believe, or a steamboat, and then I must be an exploiter like Columbus. Yes, to every isthmus, to every lake, you could believe. I want to be like Sir Francis Drake, Vasco Nunez, Vasco da Gama, and Columbus who discovered America. So baby, buy me a Zeppelin, do darling, buy me a Zeppelin, you could believe, or a steamboat, and then I must be an exploiter like Columbus. Even like Lord Nelson, I'd like to be, the ruler of the air, the land and the sea, to acquire power wherever I go, like Don Antonio Di Berrio. So darling, buy me a Zeppelin, do darling, buy me a Zeppelin, you could believe, or a steamboat, and then I must be an exploiter like Columbus. Then I'll be famous like Wellington, or first governor, the great Chakan. The Himalayan mountains I'll even score, then see the Nawab of Singapore. So baby, buy me a Zeppelin, do darling, buy me a Zeppelin, you could believe, or a steamboat, and then I must be an exploiter like Columbus. I don't mind if I'm all alone, but I'll take the chance through the canal zone and then to the desert of Sahara to see my grandparents in Africa. So darling, buy me a Zeppelin, do darling, buy me a Zeppelin, you could believe, or a steamboat, and then I must be an exploiter like Columbus. Then every school child will be taught a name, Caresser who acquired unrivaled fame, even bolder and more courageous than the old man Christopher Columbus. So darling, buy me a Zeppelin, do darling, buy me a Zeppelin, you could believe, or a steamboat, and then I must be an exploiter like Columbus.
𝐂𝐤 Rufus Calendar, the Lord Caresser, exploiting. In the early days, one would travel from east to west through Shantytown, Cobotown, and Donkey City along the coast in the capital, Port-au-Spain. The shoreline was along Marine Square and Rice Road. The lighthouse was out at sea. Jubal, Uriah, Buzz Butler on Love Radio Pure Passion, courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness. Strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans, golden brown Nescafe, coffee granules, the smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. At age 24 in 1921, Uriah came to Trinidad to seek employment, along with a wave of immigrants from West Indian Islands, attracted by the Twin Islands' newfound wealth. Trinidad and Tobago's oil boom of the early 1920s. The population of Trinidad and Tobago increased from 359,000 in 1920 to 450,000 by 1940 to 646,000 in 1950, 834,350 in 1960, and 1,000,000 in 1972. It is interesting to note at this point that Uriah, even before setting foot on Trinidad soil, was committed to the struggle for the people. Butler, a fearless advocate for workers' rights, came to Trinidad and Tobago in 1921 at age 24. He secured a job as a pipe fitter at the Rudal oil fields. Here is husband Augustine, the mighty Tangler with I, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler.
And I come here to Trinidad. I met employers living in luxury and employees suffering. Working for 7 cents an hour, the employer paid 10,000 times higher. We was going from poor to poor. I had to do something for labor. Although they tell you slavery finish, if you believe that you're very foolish. All the oil in the land they keep on drilling, and slave masters in England living like kings. They harden their heart and prepare for war, just because you ask for a penny more. Is a deeply debating issue, of course. White people running a black police force. And in case anybody might want to know, me Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler say so. Now look around, open your eyes and see. You're living like Bobo in a nest. While people come from a foreign country and in your place enjoying the best. They're boasting about the wealth of your country while you're knocking around, hungry and dirty. The British governor playing wicked. The Librans are gonna make him run steal. The problem that you facing presently really ain't no differently from slavery. Presently in the British Empire, we are the greatest oil producer. Look at Miss Melvina, she closed her up. Man, look how much money you owe the shop. Will you go on and on, suffering, while the tourists and master take everything? but I intend to make them a papi shoe. Me chew by Uriah, but glasses. You getting up early in the morning, you giving them your heart and your soul. And while you're taking this savage licking, they're making millions from your black hole. Why does the last driving car and living high? You have to ride bicycle until you die. Now is the time to show the love. Man, get up and get what you all deserve. Look, some of them coming quite from England and getting free bungalow and land. You walking under deadly condition and then getting no compensation. If you really want economic freedom, always remember we have this strike weapon. Get up, do something for more rice and flour. Keep back your labor, it's in your favor. We want to come up with tired below. Me chew by Uriah, but glasses too.
𝐿𝐶𝐕, husband Augustine, the mighty Tangler. I, Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Indeed, that wave of immigrants of the 1920s was also directly responsible for yours truly being a Trini. My paternal great-grandfather, Dilmia Muhammad, came to Trinidad from Nevis. Also, my wife's paternal grandfather, Lincoln Piritam, came from Grenada. Earlier, her maternal great-grandmother and my paternal great-grandmother both came from Venezuela to work in the cocoa, coffee, and citrus estates. Bipan, my maternal great-grandfather, came to Trinidad at age 16 as an indentured laborer from India. He settled in Debe, South Trinidad. Bipan's second wife was the first person to sell Indian delicacies, including bara and chana, at the railway station in Debe, just west of the now famous Debe Doubles. And Bipan's daughter, Pupti Raghubar, my nanny, and her two sons, Lalo and Ponan, my uncles, worked all their lives in the sugarcane industry. In the early 1920s, the situation in Trinidad and Tobago could be best described by this quote: "Cocoa is the reigning queen, sugar the ex-king, and oil the future emperor." Buzz was attracted to Trinidad and Tobago by the oil boom and got a job as a pipe fitter at the Rudal oil fields in South Trinidad and doubled as a preacher at the Moravian Baptist Church. For 8 years, Uriah toiled at back-breaking menial tasks for minimum wages at Rudal oil fields until in 1929 an accident damaged one of his legs and left him with a permanent characteristic limp. Tambu bamboo in the early 19th century, the integration of metal containers in the early 1930s, and the development of the first steel band instruments in the late 1930s, and the steel band was born.
A blessed day in 1939, the genius said he recalled to mind, held on to an old oil drum, beating it with scorn, just a form of skylarking, and there it was, the steel band was born. Oh, gone.
Everybody wondering how the steel band start. When you get to know, well, it's gonna break your heart.
I tell you now, it's founded by one Winston Spring, and this is how he started his first melody. Brum, bumping, bumping, brum, bumping, bumping, brum, bumping, bumping, brum, bumping, bumping,
𝐿𝐶𝐕, Alwyn Roberts, the Lord Kitchener, tribute to Spree. In stories of St. Nicholas, folklore, myth, legend, of the 4th century Greek bishop, Santa Claus came in all shapes, sizes, and colors, until Coca-Cola commissioned artist Hardan Sandblom in the 1930s to create a new image of Santa Claus for their advertisements, resulting in the plump, jolly, red-suited Santa Claus. The 1930s saw a severe worldwide economic downturn, the Great Depression. On October 24, 1929, the Wall Street stock market crashed, resulting in high unemployment, poverty, and drastic reductions in international trade and industrial production. In January 1930, the United States President's Emergency Committee for Unemployment Relief reported that 5 million Americans were unemployed. President Hoover's promise that the Depression would end quickly seemed hollow to the many Americans struggling to support their families. The economic crisis spread globally. Here's Ulrich Farrell, the Lord Pretender with Human Race.
This thing is worrying me day and night. It's talk about nation and black and white. Oh, but it's torturing me day and night. It's talk about nation and black and white. And nobody can say for true who the hell descended from who. But brother, let me make you to understand, two nations in this world is woman and man. Because if an Indian woman go with an Englishman, that is one nation. Oh lad, an Irishman go with a Mongolian, another nation. So if a South African go with a Nigerian, the facts you got to face. No matter who your mother and father, maybe you belong to the human race. And if what they taught me is right, they said that Adam and Eve was white. And so if it's the truth that they tell, it's quite obvious so was Cain and Abel. I don't know what happened and that's a fact. All I really know is pretty born black. But if what they taught me I must believe, then I'm a descendant of Adam and Eve. So if an Eskimo should go with a Korean, that is one nation. And a little pygmy with a big Amazon, another nation. So if an Egyptian should go with a Grenadian, where you're trying to trace, no matter who you woman, Papa, maybe you belong to the human race. Believe me, I am one Calypsonian who do business with pigmentation. No matter what is the color of your skin, that don't cut no ice with the Lord reduction. Them Ku Klux Klan men from Alabama, I see them in George Street and at Mirama, with all kind of wabi they making move. So where the hell in Alabama they trying to prove? Tell them a Puerto Rican go with a Chinese, that is one nation. Oh Lord, a Russian go with a Japanese, another nation. So if a Kayakunian go with a Portuguese, that ain't no disgrace. No matter where your mama and papa, maybe you belong to the human race. Take for instance in the animal creation, there is no such thing as pigmentation. We got black and white in horse, goat and hog, and very often you could bounce up a brown skin dog. How the hell you eating pork from the black skin sow? You don't ask for white beef from the white skin cow. Well, if animals have equality, what the heck is the difference in you and me? So if a Hawaiian go with a Trinidadian, that is one nation. Oh Lord, a Filipino with a Tobagonian, another nation. If an American should go with an African, I done some of the case. No matter who your mommy and papi, maybe you belong to the human race.
Kaiso, Ulrich Farrell, the Lord Pretender, Human Race. The worldwide depression of the 1930s affected the Trinidad and Tobago agricultural economy. The white capitalist planters and business owners were still making enough money to be comfortable. However, the working class were living in deplorable conditions. Health facilities were inadequate and expensive, and education was available only to a privileged few. Between World Wars I and II, the 1930s was a decade marked by Great Depression and political upheavals. Key events included the Wall Street market crash, the New Deal by the United States. President Franklin D. Roosevelt implemented a series of programs and reforms to address the crisis and stabilize the economy. Japan expanded into Asia, invading the Chinese province of Manchuria in 1931, seeking raw materials to fuel its growing industries. The 1930s saw the rise of fascism in Europe. Brian London lamented the plight of the workers. We shall overcome.
We forget the days of Uriah Buzz Butler, when people were struggling just to survive. Oh, na, the days when poverty knew no race or color, and people had real value for their lives. Now today when I look around, all I see is workers protesting from north to south, marching up and down, but they don't know what the real struggle's about. They sing, we shall overcome. You get your wage increase, so you're overjoyed. We shall overcome. Still thousands of youths remain unemployed. Oh, we shall overcome. You protest cause workers don't have safety boots. We shall overcome. Yet HIV still plaguing my nation's youth. Lord, you protest from night to day until you get your raise in pay. But only when we put country first, I say, is only then we shall overcome one day. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ba-na-na, ba-na-na, oh, na-na-na-na, struggle with pride and struggle for honor, just to make we country a better place. Unity was the force that held us together. We never knew nothing about race, but now I see some people enter the pit yard, trying to crush we national pride. They don't want we to mix with pan with tassa. So with weapons of race they seek to divide. Long ago we would march side by side in the hot sun or the pouring rain. Today like we unity and togetherness, all that's gone down the drain, but still we shall overcome. David Rogers Ganges can't meet denial. We shall overcome. If education today still based on hairstyles, we shall overcome. You protest cause they want to take your cola, we shall overcome. We're protesting to bring all races together. Lord, you protest from night to day until you get your raise and pay. When we put divisive thinking away, it's only then we shall overcome one day. Whoa, 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 whoa. Banana, banana, oh, na, 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 oh.
𝐋𝐤, Brian London, we shall overcome. Our workers' 𝐋𝐤. The collapse of the economy, the poor returns from agricultural and industrial employment, the deplorable working and living conditions of the working class, and the suffering of Africans and Indians under the cruel and inhumane colonial white bosses created a power keg waiting to explode in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago rum manufacturers Caroni Rum was established in 1923. Angostura Rum operating since 1824 and Fernandez Rum since 1890. The first rum was produced in 1787 at the Laperouse estate. Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio Pure Passion. Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness, strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans, golden brown Nescafe, coffee ganus, the smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class. Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Internationally, the Salt March, led by Mahatma Gandhi from March 12th to April 5th, 1930, was a pivotal act of civil disobedience against British rule in India and shook the very foundation of the British Empire. Despite the 1920s and 1930s oil boom in Trinidad and Tobago, the masses were impoverished. In the capital, a large proportion of the 15,000 school children did not get a daily breakfast. Mahatma Gandhi rocked the foundations of the British Empire, and Uriah Butler brought the house crashing down. Buzz struggled against the British Empire all his life and lived to see the independence of many of her former colonies and witnessed the great British Empire reduced to a less than mighty island off the shores of Europe. Through calypsos, our stories are told with rhythm and rhyme to rock your world and touch your soul. Here is Brother James, Selwyn James, with a tribute to Uriah Butler.
A dedicated patriot and true fighter of labor, that was the man called Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A Caribbean son coming out of Grenada, he made his name in Trinidad, struggling for workers. I've been told that back in the 1930s, he had exploited employers down on their hands and knees. And that's why when I see what's taking place today, my knowledge of workers' history tells me I must say, the workers, we must go back to the days of Butler. If today we all under pressure from an oppressive master, listen, we must go back to the times of Uriah to stop the pain and ease the strain. We must find us a chief servant again. sacrifice of self in the interest of his people, brought him the name Chief Servant. Early in the struggle, I've learned he led a hunger march from Point Forte to Port of Spain, uniting workers in oil and sugarcane. Workers' rights, he made a political issue. But said he found the workers in the land faced too much abuse. And that's why when I see what's taking place today, from the grave I hear Ethelyn Roberts telling me to say, the workers, we must go back to the days of Butler. If today we all under pressure, betrayed by a party and leader, she say we must go back to the times of Uriah, to stop the pain and ease the strain. We must find us a chief servant again.
𝐿 Selwyn James, Brother J, with a tribute to Uriah Butler. On the world stage, Herbert Hoover served as President of the United States 1929 to 33, and Franklin D. Roosevelt from 1933 to 1945. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom during this period was Ramsay MacDonald, followed by Stanley Baldwin after 1935, who led the national government. In the 1930s, England was ruled by King George V, followed by his son, King Edward VIII, before he abdicated. Edward VIII's reign was very short, lasting only 11 months. And after his abdication, his brother, Prince Albert, ascended the throne as King George VI. Here's Rufus Calendar, the Lord Caresser, to give you the real story. Classic Calypso, Lord Caresser, Edward VIII.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
We know Edward is noble and great, but love caused him to abdicate.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
Oh, what a sad disappointment was endured by the British government.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
On the 10th of December we heard a talk that he gave the throne to the Duke of York.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
I'm sorry my mother is going to grieve, but I cannot help, I'm bound to leave.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
Paul Baldwin tried to break down his plan. He said, come what may, the American.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
We got the money, we got the talk and the fancy walk just to suit New York.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
And if I can't get a boat to set me free, well, I'll walk to Miss Simpson across the sea.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
Said my robes and my crown is not on my mind, but I cannot leave Miss Simpson behind.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
They could take my throne, they could take my crown, but leave me and Miss Simpson renowned.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
If you see Miss Simpson walk in the street, she could fall an angel with the body beats.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
Let the organ roll, let the church bell ring. Good luck to our second bachelor king.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
Now on the annals of history, he has left a record for eternity.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
𝐿𝐲, Rufus Calendar, the Lord Caresser, Edward VIII. After Buzz recovered from his leg injury in 1931, at age 34, he became the chief pastor of the Butlerite Moravian Baptist Church. The church became the center of Butler's life and activities. It provided a platform for the struggle, and from the pulpit, Buzz called for better wages and working conditions, land for the landless, and greater security of tenure for farmers. Uriah had always been deeply involved in religion and struggle. Indeed, the Bible and Butler never parted company throughout his entire career. Here's Leroy Calise, the Black Stallion. Save him.
Are you going to sit down and allow them to hang? Labor next Tuesday morning? No, comrade. I'm telling you, no, comrade. Are you going to sit down and allow them exploiters just so to hang him? I say no, comrade. I'm telling you, no, comrade. We got to work on a plan to save this man from total destruction. It's up to you and it's up to me to do the best we can. Let me save him. Let me save him. Let us come together and save Labour. Come, save him. Let me save him. Let us come together and save Labour. You going to allow the works of Uriah and Rienzi go down the drain? No, comrade, I'm telling you, no, comrade. Are you going to allow the lives of Weeks and Leonard to go in vain? No, comrade, I'm telling you, no, comrade. So I'm calling on Joe Young, I'm calling on Nunes, I'm calling on Michael too. Take back down your gun, trouble in the tongue. Let's see what we can do. Save him. Let me save him. Let me come together and save Labour. Let me save him. Let me save him. Let me come together and save Labour. And friction to make we forget we hero. No, comrade, I'm telling you, no, comrade. Are you going to allow cheap politics to make we hero die so? No, comrade, I'm telling you, no, comrade. So much people fight with all their might just to keep Labour strong. It's up to you, it's up to me, we can't let the brother down. Save him. Let me save him. Let me come together and save Labour. Let me save him. Let me save him. Let me come together. You and me and save Labour. I hear you. Save him.
𝐿𝐲, Leroy Calise, the Black Stallion. Save him. Butler admired and later befriended Mahatma Gandhi, who was arrested multiple times throughout his life in South Africa and India due to his involvement in non-violent protests against British rule. One of his most notable arrests occurred in India on March 10, 1922, for sedition. Gandhi was sentenced to 6 years in jail, but was released after 2 years due to medical reasons. Mahatma Gandhi was again arrested on the 5th of May 1930 for violating the 1882 salt law, whereby Indians were forced to purchase salt only from British sources. Butler joined Cipriani's TWA, Trinidad Working Men's Association. He became a strong member of the TWA and a stronger supporter of Cipriani, the man he admired and looked up to. Butler worked assiduously with Cipriani, whose TWA had emerged in the vanguard of the struggle of the masses for self-government and independence. Captain Arthur Andrew Cipriani, with his TWA, secured many advances in the interest of the barefooted man in Trinidad and Tobago. The three major figures holding the spotlight in the TWA and indeed the labor movement in Trinidad and Tobago were a white, an African, and an Indian. Cipriani, Butler, and the young dynamic Krishna Devanarayan, aka Adrian Cola Rienzi. The split between Cipriani and Butler began in 1932. The trade union law was passed, granting the government the power to register or refuse to register, which would make a functioning trade union illegal. Cipriani took the radical position that the TWA would not register as a trade union, but instead transform into a political party, the TLP, the Trinidad Labour Party. Cipriani's decision to form a political party came after consulting his British trade union friends. Butler and Rienzi had no role in the decision-making process. Cipriani's dictatorial approach to decision-making alienated Butler and Rienzi. Butler's messages and tactics were too militant for Cipriani, who saw himself as a constitutional reformist, while Butler saw himself as a revolutionist. The split with Cipriani was inevitable. To commemorate 100 years since the end of slavery in the British West Indies colonies, emancipation, in 1934, Rienzi set up his Citizen League in San Fernando, and in 1936, Butler formed the British Empire Workers' and Citizens' Home Rule Party, also known as Butler Party. Butler believed that man's purpose in life was the fulfillment of God's purpose. Butler's belief system meant he owed no obligation to anyone but to God. The Butler Party incorporated the aims and objectives of Butler's lifelong struggle: the fight for the rights of colored workers and citizens to reach the highest levels in every avenue of thought, opportunities in labor and social standing in the nation. By calypsos, our stories are told, with rhythm and rhyme to rock your world and touch your soul. Fred Mitchell, composer, with Workers' Lament.
Oh, how my heart goes out to my people. I mean the poor and the working class, who got to work every day for little or no pay until judgment come to pass. They got to make up their mind for pressure till the day they go into their graves, because the rich and powerful master keeping them hand to mouth like slaves. So they gotta keep on working harder and sweating till they're smelling bad, while they're praying for the day to dawn. Of course they tired, oh me lad, but they got to make enough money to feed themselves and their family, so they could eat good to be strong enough to come and work hard, hard, hard. Life is pleasant for who got money, and enjoying all luxuries. But if you're poor and got to work daily, well, everyday life is misery. Whether you're sick, you're tired or hungry, day after day you must make it meet. In the hardship and pain and sweat in the heat, as you're fighting to make ends meet, you gotta keep on working harder, sweating till you're smelling bad. And in the evening when the sun goes down, of course you're tired, oh me lad, but you got to make some overtime, because you really need the extra time. So you provide food to be strong enough to come and go high, high, high. Why should my people reach old age? I say, why should they reach a stage? Their body break up, their back and go see, but they're still trying to earn a wage. All their years and youth gone in labor, and what they own they could hardly see. But they got the skill and experience of hope, while the big boss got the money. They gotta keep on working harder, sweating till they're smelling bad. And when the sun is sinking in the west, they're going home to rest. Oh yes, but they're coming back the following day, because they really, really need the pay, so they could buy food to be strong enough to come and work hard, 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 hard. No happy life for my people, no big yacht to tour the world. It's only tools and the call of the whistle, from the time they're young till they're old. And the big boss giving the orders, with no love nor sympathy, saying that is all you must expect in life from now till eternity. You better keep on working hard, sweating till you're smelling bad. No rest until the day you die. No bother to cry, I tell you why. You gotta make enough money to feed yourself and your family, so they could be good to be strong enough to come and go high, 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 high.
𝐋𝐤 Fred Mitchell, composer, with Workers' Lament. Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness. Strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans. Golden brown Nescafe, coffee ganus. The smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler, a masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio, Pure Passion, documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Internationally, on January 30th, 1933, Adolf Hitler, leader of the Nazi Party, was appointed Chancellor of Germany. Butler went village to village in the sugar and oil belts, promoting the Butler's party's aims and objectives. Butler influenced all the events, happenings, and challenges of the working class that occurred throughout the world in the 1930s and beyond. Butler wrote numerous letters to the colonial government lamenting the deplorable working conditions and horrible living conditions of the African workers and Indian toilers, to coin a Butler phrase. He described their plight as nothing short of subhuman.
Today, as we celebrate what I am always pleased to refer to as the Butlerites' Thanksgiving Day, I call upon one and all of my warriors to lift their hearts to Almighty God in joyful praise and thanksgiving for the victories, the working class victories, the immortal victories, the epic victories of labor under Gordon Uriah Butler in the history-making days of June 1937. Glory to God in the highest. Long live labor. Long live the servants of labor in Trinidad and Tobago.
The struggle was real. The working class revolted with passion and power. In July of 1930, there was a week-long strike at Felicity Estate, followed by a demonstration by 800 workers at Woodford Square in the capital, Port of Spain. A strike at Caroni escalated into a riot. In 1934, there were hunger marches. Sugar and oil were one. Here's Brother Marvin, Selwyn Deming, Jahaji Bai, Brotherhood of the Boat.
He came from Calcutta, a stick and a bag on his shoulder, he turban and the capra. So I am part seed of India. India, the Indian ship and the slavery bind together to resist in unity. There was no more Mother Africa, no more Mother India, just Mother Trinity. My Mahuta planted sugar cane down in the Caroni plain. Ram Logan Bastel percussion Jahaji Pai, Brotherhood of the Boat. Jahaji Pai, Brotherhood of the Boat. Jahaji Pai. So it is a great privilege to have such unique heritage. 50% Africa, 50% India. India, I have done duty to holiday So tell Rosak with that journey, 150 years gone already. Whether you're Hindu, Muslim or Christian, let's walk this land hand in hand. We could only prosper if we try. Brotherhood of the boat. Brotherhood of the boat. Kumaye, Zindawe. Kumaye, Zindawe, ayo. Kumaye, Zindawe. Kumaye, Zindawe, ayo. Kumaye, Zindawe.
Kaiso, Brother Marvin, Selwyn Deming, Jahaji Bai, Brotherhood of the Boat. In 1935, the workers at the Apex oil fields in Faizabad went on strike for better pay and working conditions. The company retaliated by firing 212 workers, and all hell broke loose. People power was unleashed in the colony. Cipriani's TLP did not support the strike, claiming a strike was unconstitutional. Butler was in full support of the strike, demonstrating his commitment to action, and led the 212 dismissed Apex oil fields workers on a hunger march to Port of Spain.
I now have great pleasure in turning to the agenda of the evening. The items forming our agenda are these: funding of millions by the government, millions that might very well have been spent in certain directions and which would have brought employment to hundreds of the tens of thousands of workers who are now unemployed, and as a result are made depressed when the day comes. And as chairman of the evening, I am not going to apologize to any man or woman if, as I enumerate and read out to you the items on the agenda for tonight's meeting, I want you to spread your minds of prejudice and to hear statements that we are bound to refer to as statements of fact, as we are able to put it over on the Butler Labour Party platform. A platform, let me repeat, a platform that is open to every man, woman, and child of Trinidad and Tobago who can take full to come here to tell their fellow citizens about things that concern the good and welfare of the citizenry and the strangers within our nation. But the Labour Party platform is open to one and all, regardless of your political creed or affiliation. And there is only one party I know who, from its inception, was national in outlook. And I am happy to be able to see we are still national in our plans and policies, and hope by our simple efforts here, there, and everywhere in our country to make this citizenry nationally minded, just as Scotland himself is nationally minded. Kill me dead, but hands off my people and my country. Kill me dead, but let economic independence flow freely through the length and breadth of our country, so that every man and woman can head on live and die under his and her own life and faith. And let there be any mistake of doubt in your mind, let me say right here and right now, but there has been given the job to place purely and happily every Trinidadian and Tobagoan under his own sign and safety. To put citizens of Trinidad and Tobago by the hundreds, far less than thousands, and tens of thousands, and hundreds of thousands under their own sign and safety in obedience to the command of IS. These means shall tend to God and God alone. But God is the man who dares to keep my people and my country one much longer away, far away from economic independence. People who now make that part of your prayer to God, that part of your daily prayer, give us this day our daily bread, and daily mockery and a part of God is dead. But we're not only going to ask you to pray with him, give us this day our daily bread, and I hope you will follow me, because I know David said this, and if you follow me, you can have bread and have it. In this fight for bread, for what else? There can be no chance to surrender. In this fight for bread, for children first, and everybody else afterwards, there can be no cold foot. Because you have to read out the cold fatigue of the ranks of the continent for all these warriors, warriors of the way, are wanting to follow the riot path in this battle to bring betterment for one and all in Trinidad and Tobago.
Cipriani, the mayor of Port of Spain and leader of the Trinidad Labour Party, of which Butler was still a member, was sent by the governor, Sir Alfred Claude Hollis, to intercept the march at Chaguanas. At Chaguanas, Cipriani addressed the 212 workers. He promised to negotiate on their behalf to get their jobs back if they discontinued the march to Port of Spain. The workers agreed and dispersed. Cipriani reneged on his promise. The workers were never reinstated. Butler accused Cipriani of selling out the workers and engaging in backpedaling and somersaulting tactics. Butler, tongue-in-cheek, described Cipriani as a great leader on the war front, thousands of miles away from home. To his credit, Captain Arthur Andrew Cipriani, as mayor of Port of Spain, whose statue stands majestically at the foot of Frederick Street on Independence Square, formerly Marine Square and now Brian Lara Promenade, commissioned the paving of the East Dry River from St. Anne's to the sea, which was officially opened in 1934. The St. Anne's River was moved in 1787 by the last Spanish governor, Don Jose Maria Chacon, from its original course through the Queen's Park Savannah and through the center of the city down Chacon Street in Port of Spain to the east along the foot of the Laventille Hills. The Mighty Sparrow sang about Cipriani's statue in 1976, but much earlier, the Lord Beginner, Egbert Moore, paid tribute to Captain Cipriani.
Give to this he, the Honorable Captain Cipriani. Give to this he, the Honorable Captain Cipriani. Men may stand and fall, men may come and go, but the captain is our hero. As a West Indian born in this colony, he does his duties quite faithfully. He was born 60 years ago. Can you tell me of a better man that you know? He is known as a poor man's friend. For the right he'll fight it out to the end. In politics he is really strong, for he knows the right from the wrong. He's our friend and pride of this colony, gallant Captain Cipriani. In the legislative, this is what he do. Got shorter working hours for I and you. Compulsory education, he fought it on. That children should be proud of the land they born. If you get damage on work, they can't say it's true tack, for he has got the Compensation Act. Let's wish him long life, health and prosperity, Honorable Captain Cipriani. The captain have travelled here and there, and he met with funny things everywhere. He had to leave a meeting at Barbados. At Antigua nearly give the governor blows. At Grenada, you know, they stole his shoes, and at dinner once he refused. In the legislative chamber, I understand, he had to cough down an Indian man.
𝐋𝐤, the Lord Beginner, Egbert Moore. Tribute to Captain Cipriani. Throughout Butler's village-to-village sojourn, he continued a program of political education, agitation, and mobilization. Butler held more than 100 public meetings throughout the sugar and oil belts in Central and South Trinidad, dealing with the oppressive state of affairs under which the workers and citizens worked and lived.
It's a sad thing to remember, you know, and it's sadder still for me to relate today when things seem to have changed quite a lot. But as I remember, the conditions of the poor Indians and Negroes and sugar and oil respectively was nothing short of subhuman. It was clearly a case for early rectification. But how to do it? Letter after letter was dispatched to the powers that be in the oil and sugar industry. No replies. We turned our attention to the government of the day. Every letter was attended to, acknowledged. But what about the alleviation of the condition of these poor workers? Well, nothing was attempted, nothing done. And so I thought that the time had come when we had to take positive action to achieve positive results insofar as betterment of the condition under which these people were forced to live and die and work.
Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness. Strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans, golden brown Nescafe, coffee ganus, the smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. In 1938, Raphael de Leon, the Roaring Lion, established a record on the road for carnival that has never been equaled or broken. Back then, the Carnival Road March was known as the Lego. The Roaring Lion scored a beaver trick, capturing the most popular song on the road for carnival titles in 1935, 36, 37, and 38. With Dingole Oi, Advantage Could Never Done, Netty Netty, and No Nora Darling.
The calf on my bed was very still, and when she heard the gin bottle, look, she got a thrill, and said, "Wake up, darling, wake up, let's make our names." The bamboo addle in my brain. She jumped off the bed and nearly both me blind. Laughed me in my face with a body line, singing, "Happy me now, oh Lord, give me the things that are in your bed." Nora, darling, don't wake me for the morning.
Nora, darling, don't you wake me for the morning.
Nora, darling, don't wake me for the morning.
Nora, darling, I'll give you a gold and diamond ring.
Nora, darling, don't wake me for the morning.
Nora, you are a beauty and the only chic in this colony.
Nora, darling, don't wake me for the morning.
Nora, darling, I'll give you a gold and diamond ring.
Nora, darling, don't wake me for the morning.
Nora, you are a beauty and the only chic in this colony.
4 Legos in a row for the Roaring Lion. 1935 to 1938. Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. The myth, the legend, the man. A colossal champion of the working class. In the 1930s, only 10% of the adult population in the colony could vote. It was not until a decade later the British Parliament granted universal adult suffrage to Trinidad and Tobago in 1945. Just like Batman had Robin, the 4 titans had their loyal second in command. Mahatma Gandhi had Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had Stokely Carmichael Kwame Ture. Nelson Mandela had Steve Biko, and Uriah Butler had Adrian Kolarienzi. A pamphlet circulated at one of Butler's public meetings in La Brea read, "Join the Home Party rule today. The fight is on. We shall shock the enemy. Victory or death will be ours. Fraternally yours, for and on behalf of the CEC, T. Uriah B. Butler." Butler was staunchly and fiercely anti-colonial and uncompromising. In the words of the Foster Commission of Inquiry, Butler was a fanatic Negro who were showing considerable activities in villages near the oil fields and delivering speeches of an inflammatory nature. The speeches and literature issued by his party were conspicuous for their violent character, and as his followers included many who were prepared to adopt violent methods. Butler's activities were regarded by the colonial government as dangerous and a threat. Butler was closely monitored. Police attended his public meetings and reported back to the colonial authorities. The most important year in the life of Butler and Labour was 1937. The number one song in 1937 in the U.S., Sweet Leilani by Bing Crosby.
Sweet Leilani, heavenly flower, tropic skies are jealous as they shine.
My sweet Leilani,
I think they're jealous of your blue eyes.
oh lovely Leilani,
Jealous because you're mine. Sweet Leilani, heavenly flower, I dreamed of paradise for two.
And the number one song in 1937 in England, Good Night, My Love, by Ella Fitzgerald, featuring Benny Goodman.
Good night, my love. The tired old moon is descending. Good night, my love. My moment with you now is ending. It was so heavenly holding you close to me. It will be heavenly to hold you again in a dream.
Through calypsos, our stories are told with rhythm and rhyme to rock your world and touch your soul. The most important calypso performed at the makeshift calypso tents throughout the land of calypso in 1937 was Lord Executor Philip Garcia. They say I reign too long.
They say I reign too long, forgetting that my constitution is strong. Instead of glorifying me long years reign, they making plots to break down my name.
They say I reign too long, forgetting that my constitution is strong. The Lord Executor can hold his own. Tell him in Calypso the cornerstone.
When every hair on Queen Victoria's head was turning white, England never said she is too old to sit on the throne, but allow her to remain to control her own.
They say I reign too long, forgetting that the constitution is strong. The Lord Executor can hold his own. Tell him in Calypso the cornerstone.
When Jack Hobbs was 53, he was still batting splendidly, and so you find every word in me is a boundary right round this colony.
They say I reign too long, forgetting that the constitution is strong. The Lord Executor can hold his own. Tell him in Calypso the cornerstone.
We all recommend the precious wine that is kept in the cellar for the length of time. Connoisseurs declare it makes you bold, healthy, vigorous, and cold.
They say I reign too long, forgetting that the constitution is strong. The Lord Executor can hold his own. Tell him in Calypso on the cornerstone.
Another factor you must not forget is the mighty Port of Spain Gazette. Early in the morning you cannot refuse, for it always conveys the best of news.
They say I reign too long, forgetting that the constitution is strong. The Lord Executor can hold his own. Tell him in Calypso on the cornerstone.
I met Baldivier, a student of Flock. I must confess that he had much luck. A strong constitution and something more, but he hadn't the courage to prolong the war.
They say I reign too long, forgetting that the Constitution is strong. The Lord Executor can hold his own. Let him make his throne the cornerstone.
I met King Pharaoh, the bravest of all, who boldly answered my bugle call. I found in him no beauty to eulogize, no strength in his arms as to gain the prize.
They say I reign too long, forgetting that the Constitution is strong. The Lord Executor can hold his own. Tell him in Calypso on the cornerstone.
Then came Black Prince with his armor on, boastful, antagonistic, and full of scorn, and in chains of bondage the villain was bound, and cast in a dungeon far underground.
They say I reign too long, forgetting that the Constitution is strong. The Lord Executor can hold his own. Tell him in Calypso on the cornerstone.
Then all over the colony I found pretenders waiting for me. But when I executed drawn nigh, man and beast and insect must die.
They say I reign too long, forgetting that the Constitution is strong. The Lord Executor can hold his own. Tell him in Calypso on the cornerstone.
𝐶𝐲, Lord Executor Philip Garcia with the most popular calypso of 1937. They say I reign too long. On May 21st, 1937, Butler was charged for obstruction to the free flow of passage of Sober Road, La Brea by Police Corporal Charlie King. Buzz ignored the charge. Butler was fearless and fiery. He described the then governor of Trinidad and Tobago, Sir Hubert Ranch, as Ranch Rancid, and called the then King of England, George VI, a goddamn bastard. On June 15, 1937, Police Corporal Charlie King arrested Butler for non-attendance at the La Brea courts on June 14, 1937, to answer the charge, obstruction of the free flow of passage of Sober Road, La Brea. Through kaisos or stories are told, with rhythm and rhyme, to rock your world and touch your soul. Ernest Nelson, Prince Valiant, out of tears and tribulations.
With barefoot and capra, I had no voting rights. I woke for me master, I woke day and night. Big load upon me head, I thought that I was dead. But Captain Cipriani came to me and said, he tell me, Indians and Negroes unite. We have won the battle for human rights. Out of tears and tribulations, we built our nation. Trinidad and Tobago is ours, black and white. Now the land is mine, the sea is mine, the hills beneath the sun that shine. I like me Indian festival and Indian dance. The valley time, Pagua time, Ida Victor is my life. Ramila time and Huse time is Bacchanal. I woke in the cocoa, I slept without a pay. I woke in the sugar cane for 25 cents a day. I woke in the oil field for 5 cents an hour. Then came Uriah Butler to give me plenty power. He tell me, Indians and Negroes unite. We have won the battle for human rights. Out of tears and tribulations, we built our nation. Trinidad and Tobago is ours, black and white. Now the land is mine, the sea is mine, the hills beneath the sun that shine. Where steel bands play for limbo dance and carnival. Stick fighter, bongo, I like to hear tell me, Indians and Negroes unite. We have won the battle for human rights. Out of years and tribulations, we built our nation. Trinidad and Tobago is ours, black and white. Now the land is mine, the sea is mine, the hills beneath the sun that shine. I eat in rice and peas, crab and kalaloo, me roti and me dal puri, shana para and pulari. God bless us all and make us free forever, 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 forever.
𝐿𝐨, Ernest Nelson, Prince Valiant, out of tears and tribulations. This is a tribute to one of 4 20th century titans, mighty warriors, fearless trailblazers, champions of the working class. Mahatma Gandhi, Uriah Butler, Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela. This one is for my hero, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio, Pure Passion, courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness. Strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans. Golden brown Nescafe, coffee ganus. The smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler, the hero and spokesman of the working class, the champion of the poor and downtrodden, the supreme chief servant, a true father of the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Be sure to save, enjoy, love, share far and wide so that future generations can appreciate the tremendous world-changing contribution of my hero, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. I'm Sukram Ali, the ultimate selector, full of the joy of life, enjoying the journey.
Feel good. Love Radio. Love Radio. Love Radio.
Love Radio.
Music that makes you feel good.
That makes you feel good.
Love Radio.
Non-stop
Music.